This ain't no concrete coast, but I'm still your avuncular host. Join me as I'm strolling the Stour. It's now winter and I'm heading out on the final leg of this walk. And this part of the journey carries a certain degree of risk, I can tell you. I have survived the mild peril of crossing the fairway. In the distance you can probably just about make out the industrial zone, which I described earlier. And beyond the white building and the trees in the distance, is my furthest point in the summer section of the walk. Welcome to Sandwich Bay, and the mouth of the Stour lies in the distance at the end of the beach. Incidentally, in silhouette in the distance are some buildings. That's where I began my journey of season 2.2 of the Concrete Coast. On the other side of the bay is Ramsgate in the Isle of Thanet, where of course I did series 1 of the Concrete Coast. So what I'm going to do is come back here on another day, park up the van just over there by the buildings, and continue the walk up towards the estuary. Welcome back. It's too many years after some of those last clips, and just a couple of days after the introduction to this film. As mentioned earlier, I've left the van at the car park at Sandwich Bay and head along the beach towards the estuary of the Stour. Well, the route I'm on is part of the English Coastal Path network, which will take me along the bay, very close to the beach. At the end, however, it will cut the corner of the Stour estuary, and if memory serves me correctly, there's a very large sign which says don't go any further in order to protect the wildlife. In order to park here at Sandwich Bay, you have to pass through the Sandwich Bay estate, which is privately owned, and they charge a toll. At the time of recording, October 2024, the toll for the camper van for the day was £15. By way of comparison, I parked in Sandwich town centre a couple of days ago to film the introduction, and that cost £7.60 for 4 hours. The map on the notice board there does give a fairly good idea of the layout of the land around here, but I'm also tracking this part of the walk on GPS to show you in one of the sequences. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, my last visit here, and this area to my right has been cordoned off in the meantime by a Nature Conservancy Trust. Whilst on my left is yet another golf course. There are sections here, of course, upon which you could walk along the beach. That's quite tide dependent, and today it's pretty high. So if there is any wildlife on the beach, it tends to get compacted into quite a small area, and they get easily spooked by rambling YouTubers, amongst others. There's a solitary tree over there on the golf course. It often features on the horizon of my wildlife shots taken from Pegwell Bay. just going to branch off towards the beach at the end of the managed land. This is a remarkable spot. Behind me is the end of the beach. I'm going to put a long lens on and give you a few shots of that now. I'm sure I must have some stills of this area before it was all fenced off. They might find their way into some of the sequences. From here, it shouldn't be too far to cut inland and join up with the end point from walk number 1. This walk, which I've done in 2 parts, could equally be done as a circular walk. I'll be inclined to allow pretty much all day for that. If you're going to park at the Bay Estate, bear in mind you need to pay in advance. If you park in Sandwich, the hourly rate may be a little higher even. Sandwich Town itself, however, falls into the jurisdiction of Dover District Council, and they operate an enlightened policy not charging for all parking on a Sunday. These little bridges I'm crossing are for the many drainage channels around here. I could hear something splashing underneath that one. The outline of these trees is also visible from the Ramsgate side, but I didn't realise this woodland was quite so thick. And here I am back on the embankments, which form part of the coastal defence. And here, just ahead of me, the corner of the embankment, This is the final point of my walk in the summer, or should I say summer a few years ago. And one thing I'm rediscovering, there's nothing I can lean the camera against to do a poignant walk away. Sandwich Bay Beach, the Discovery Park, and just over the horizon there, the River Stour. So if I carried on in that direction, that would be the circular walk back towards Sandwich. But you've already seen that. Today I'm going to head back to the van for a nice cup of tea, whilst you enjoy some scenery from this part of the walk. After the sequence, we'll go back to my former self in winter, as I recall, and we'll find an alternate route back to Sandwich. Instead of going back across the golf course, there's a path which cuts round the side of one before you get to the other. Although I still haven't solved my poignant walkaway dilemma. I think I might do it in the forest over there. Now, having walked along the beach to get closer to the estuary, it's a different route back towards Sandwich. Instead of risking the golf course once more. I'm going to skirt around the edge of it and head back towards the crossing where the nice coloured trees were. Although at this time of year I suspect there won't be much colour at all. This has been my introduction to Strolling the Stour. I don't intend to walk every inch of the riverbank. The following episodes will all be self-contained walks, with the route of the Stour at the very heart of them. Now, apart from loosely following the route of the Stour through East Kent, my other objective for the series is to showcase the landscape throughout the different seasons, from a riot of flowers, colours and insects in the summer, to a barren, sometimes desolate even, landscape in winter. Join me on the next episode of Strolling the Stour as we head inland from Sandwich. As I thought the trees had been robbed of their colour, we see the gnarled and twisted form of their bare trunks. Let's remind ourselves what this scene looked like back in summer. I don't think they like you parking here. I have been your avuncular host. Thanks for watching.